Hello and welcome to chillTV News of the Week, Year in Review. And my special guest this week, Don Lane.
It's weird sitting on this side, trust me.
Well, welcome to the show.
Thank
Don.
you.
A show within a show, if you will.
I'm underdressed, as you can see.
Yeah, well, it is New Year's.
It's New Year's.
But what we wanted to do is there was lots of stories this year that really competed for the headlines within the Fraser Valley and Chilliwack. So Don, being that you were front and center through all of these stories, we wanted to find out from you what your picks were for the top 5 news stories of the year.
Number 5 was definitely social housing, and kind of in 2 parts, one of which was where the old Traders Inn used to be in downtown. And this is a low barrier shelter, so those that are living inside, if they want, they can use drugs in a supervised, if you want to call it a supervised site. That was overshadowed by the Portal, and that is the Ruth and Naomi's homeless shelter. It was, Ruth and Naomi's had asked for a 3-year temporary use permit extension. They got 18 months. The complaint was not the fact that it's a homeless shelter. Nobody argued that we need it. The concern was it's across the street from Chilliwack Middle School,
right,
down the street from Chilliwack Secondary, not that far away from an elementary school, a little mountain, I believe, and the crime that was around the area, as well as drug use. And the argument was it's too close to downtown, too close to ground zero, quote
Lots
unquote.
of controversy.
Exactly. And again, 18 months and the proviso for Ruth and Naomi's to find another place. So it's not going to disappear, but in 18 months' time, it will have to move. Simple as that.
So it'll stay in the news probably next year, yeah, for
easy,
sure.
Easy.
So the next one, I happen to know the next one probably got moved into the top 5 just from some recent happenings. So what's number 4, Don?
Well, number 4, we started off with the Park Ridge condo fire. So about 100 people were displaced and still are. They're still making the repairs to that. And we got some incredible footage from, ironically, school trustee Willow Rieschelt, who lives in another part of that facility. But it was just recently, Windsor Plywood and Canadian Liquidation, that fire is still under investigation. We don't know why or how it started.
Huge.
But
huge
there's about 100 people that going into 2020 are now unemployed. And again, Chilliwack Fire are still trying to determine what caused it. It started in the back end. The bottom line is not only a huge fire, but it's at Christmas time. I mean, losing your job anytime is not a great time, but at Christmas time, that one hurts.
Yeah, our hearts go out there. So big fires was number 4. What's number 3?
Rainbow crosswalks. And this is where I personally was a little concerned where it kind of got sidetracked. First off, the request was for Mill Street in Wellington. And while Mayor Ken Popoff was very happy with the idea of rainbow crosswalks, City Council and Popoff himself said, downtown, probably not the best place, but he left the door open for anywhere else, in particular private property, which has happened on First Nations property. Well, that also includes the Promontory Save on Foods as well as Eagle Landing. The other side is, and the school board office too, by the way. The other side of that is we now have 16 of them, which is great, but it got sidetracked as, well, we have 16 of these. Is that a record for the Guinness Book of World Records, which is kind of taking away from what a rainbow crosswalk is supposed to be, and that is to support the LGBTQ2+ community.
But wouldn't you agree though on that one? Just the visibility that was brought, because there was controversy about whether you should say no, and then the backlash led to this mammoth rainbow wave, if you will.
Yeah, and Chilliwack has had a bad rap of being anti-Soji, anti-rainbow, anti. So this did bring some light to the entire subject.
It was international,
and it went viral. It went viral. Yeah. So there was a bright side to this story, and hopefully we're a little more accepting after all of this.
Yeah. All right. Well, what's number 2, Don?
Oh, big business. Everybody was looking at Molson Coors. When you buy any Molson Coors product now, it says Chilliwack, BC. It does not say Vancouver anymore. And that's something we can hang our hat on.
What an impressive facility too. Like we were both there for the opening. That was amazing.
And the other thing too, and we both were kind of chuckling to ourselves in this, the president of Molson's from Montreal was just flabbergasted about Chilliwack but it was the guy from Coors in Denver.
Right, Pete Coors.
Pete Coors.
Yeah.
His jaw, we had to help him pick his jaw up off the floor. And he thought, you know, Denver's gorgeous. And if you've ever been to Denver, it is a beautiful city. He came to Chilliwack and was blown away by the
really
people, by the facilities, by the aquifer, by the welcoming of the business community. Nicely done.
Major props. I mean, it's news that was in development for a while, but it came to full fruition in 2019. A couple other news, big business news stories as well.
And kind of overshadowed the fact that Cottonwood Mall is going to have one major facelift. It's already going through that, with Save On Foods going into where Target was,
right,
and before that was Zellers. On the other side, it's been pretty much confirmed that the old Sears building will be renovated and that will become Canadian Tire. Across the street, though, the middle chunk of Chilliwack Mall will eventually disappear, and that will become housing and a couple of smaller business buildings to be put on that same site. So that entire area, to use the Field of Dreams line, if you build it, they will come, that's probably going to be it. Transit's already there. The connections are already there. The parking is already there. So a lot of the hard stuff for moving people in and out, that's done. And it's going to look quite impressive in a couple of years' time.
Yeah, and we had the mayor on this year.
Yep.
And even though it is started in the previous year, the downtown redevelopment still...
Algra Brothers, amazing. And they've already got the one facade, brick facade up with these huge signs saying, for rent in 2020. This is now, and we've gone through this how many years now? Remember Wallace Concepts? It's real. It's very real. And it will look very similar to the renovations that Algra did with downtown Abbotsford. Yeah. It is quite exciting.
Yeah, no, major news for Chilliwack this year, and very positive news. Yeah. Not so positive news, our #1 story.
All the missing people. Just amazing.
And we reported on that. It seemed like every other week we had a new story.
And Grace Baranek was the lightning rod, and a number of people were trying to figure out why. And it finally came out in the wash with a number of people come out and say Grace was everybody's grandma. And yes, dealing with dementia, dealing with senility, and then gone for so long. And then there was John Pop. And then Valentina in Chilliwack, or in Cultus Lake, that one was the oddity because she did not have dementia. She was out mushroom picking. She still disappeared, and we still have no trace of her. Also missing Timothy Delahaye, the young man who was hiking south of Cultus towards the American border, gone, vanished. And then Kristofer Courture and his mother from Edmonton.
You talked with her a couple of times.
Talked with her a couple of times. This is an amazing woman who knew how to literally round up resources, everything from search and rescue and RCMP to private search to even a company that has drones, and still no word. There are major, on the electronic signs as you're heading towards Abbotsford on Highway 1, you'll see Kristofer's picture. But this has been almost a year, and we still do not know what happened.
I think that one thing that did come out was that there was a high percentage of seniors that went missing with dementia, and so addressing that issue and having procedures in place for following up on the emergency side. I think it's very important getting that message out.
In Ontario, they have something called Silver Alert. And they really want to ramp that and amp that up here in British Columbia. If there is a good side, especially because of Grace and John Pop, I think we're going to see Silver Alert by the end of 2020 here in British Columbia. So,
well, thank you, Don. I mean, a very big list, and we have many more stories that didn't make the top 5, but they'll be on our top 20 list if you check us on Facebook. Yeah. But one thing I wanted to say before we say good night and Happy New Year is thank you, Don. Appreciate very much having you a part of chillTV News of the Week for 2019. We started the show in 2019. We're up to just over 40 episodes.
41 now?
Something like that. And we're just so appreciative of everything that you brought to our program. And we just want to say thank you.
And thank you. And a tip of the hat to Wayne and the entire crew with VBN, the people you don't see behind the camera. If it wasn't for them, we'd just be two somewhat well-dressed guys.
Well, I would.
Oh, here we go again.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
And Happy New Year to you.